All right, what's going on? Welcome to the Pizza King podcast. I'm Tyrell Reed. I'm your host, also known as the Pizza King, just a pizza guy with 20 plus years experience. I made a hell of a lot of mistakes in these 20 years, which really turned into an equal amount of lessons. You know, you pair that with all of the lessons I learned from everybody else around me, my peers, my mentors, um, my staff, everybody that's just been involved in the journey. That turns into a whole lot of experience to pass on. And that's exactly what I'm doing here today and why I wanted to do this podcast. I want to pass on those lessons from my years, hoping that, hey, I can get better myself because I'm still an operator, still an owner, still in the franchise business. And also to pass on to the folks that I work with and the folks that, come into contact with me. I want to be able to pay it forward. Have I done it all right? Absolutely not. Like I said before, I made all kinds of mistakes. I've opened restaurants, I've bought restaurants, I've sold restaurants. I've even had to close the doors on some places when it made sense to do so. So I'm not here, telling these stories or giving these lessons from a place of a know-it-all or someone that knows how to do everything. I'm come from the position of, this is what I've learned, help me make sure that I'm on track for what I'm trying to do. And hopefully you can use my information to get yourself on track for the things that you're trying to do, especially when it comes to running and operating a pizzeria, or, two pizzerias, 3, 4, 5, however many locations you want to get into. I'm trying to give advice to those folks that are looking to grow that pizza business. I was driving in the car earlier today, and I've been thinking about doing this podcast and what kind of episodes I want to do, and I'm trying to plan it out and make notes and come up with all these themes. And as I'm driving today, and I was visiting a few restaurants that I'm working with, and it was so apparent what I needed to talk about that I had to do it today. And I hope that you guys find some value in it. So thank you for listening. Whoever this comes across, you hear this, send me a message, say, let me know what you think, leave a comment, give it a like, share, subscribe. We're going to try to do this every single week, as time permits, as the schedule permits. Like I said, I'm, actually still running a restaurant business. So, I will spend as much time as I can to bring this content and to bring these stories and these lessons out. What I wanted to talk about today was something that everybody, is going through. It's killing businesses. It's killing the customer experience. It's hurting the overall future of our business. And it's one of those things that's, we don't need to get cryptic about it. I'm talking about staffing. And in particular, I'm talking about why you're not getting the quality people to join your team. Everyone is looking for that next level person, that, that manager, that leader, that person that's going to help, take your restaurant to the next level, take your spot, help you grow, help you expand. If that's what you're trying to do, even if you're not trying to grow, you just want people that you can trust, people that can be dependable and help your business thrive, right? But it seems like lately, especially, in these recent pandemic years and post-pandemic years, there's been a shortage of those good folks, or they want more money than we could even afford to pay them, as the minimum wage hikes take place, especially here in Florida where I'm at, where we're seeing it go up $1 a year. So as those things start to happen, the pool is shrinking on talent. So how are you, planning to attract these folks? How are you attracting this talent? What strategies are you using? Is it effective? Are you getting the results that you want? I talked to a couple of restaurants today, and in an effort just to bring some of my notes and some of my day-to-day stuff here. It's always about me asking the questions so that we can get to the solution. I'm not the kind of coach that comes in and says, do this, and this. That doesn't work. You got to be able to, let's collaborate on how we come to a solution and how we take the best path forward for the business, right? So I made this post, and this is the reason why I want to talk about it, because I made this post, and if you see it, you can check it out on Instagram, but it said something to the essence of, we cannot expect to build our teams with a now hiring sign in the window. Like, you can't just have a now hiring sign in the window and think we're going to get people from that. We're going to, if I walk into your restaurant and you start to tell me, really struggling to get people, we've been, I can't get a cook, really not able to grow, haven't been able to advertise. If I can just get some people in here, I would have more time. And I ask you what you're doing, and all you got is a now hiring sign in the window. I'm gonna look at you like you're crazy, because you ain't doing nothing. You really ain't. You're really not doing anything. That is the most bare minimum effort possible. And not that there's folks out there doing that, and this is not to point anybody out or single anybody out. If you're doing that, it's not to shame you in any way, but let me help you. Let me give you some strategies to, even if you're on a tight budget, let's figure out a way to help you attract better people. Because I can assure you that now hiring sign in the window is the symptom of some deeper issues or some bigger problems in your restaurant. And that's really what I wanted to talk about here, was the presence of that type of effort is the symptom of some bigger problems in your restaurant. And usually we're having these conversations because there is, in some way, lackluster performance, or, sales are dropping, profit's not there. There's some issue causing us to be in this situation where, we're in desperation mode. One of those things, and I can tell you just from experience, you walk into, I'm trying to find the nicest possible way to say this without offending anybody that I work with, or will possibly work with, or could potentially work with, or even somebody in the situation that's looking for help. But I already know, if I see that, if I see the help wanted sign in the window, I know that restaurant is about to be a mess when I go in there. Meaning, well, let me ask you a question. Do y'all ever come around the counter and take a look at what your customer sees when they come into your restaurant? Like, do you ever try to come and experience what your place is like from the other side? Do you know what the back counter looks like behind your register when you're standing at the counter? Do you know what it looks like through the window as you're walking up? What can you see from sitting at one of the tables? You got all the bills for the last 6 months sitting on the counter. You got all the dry goods from the restaurant depot round you just made sitting on the counter. You got half of the truck didn't get put away. It's 2:00. I don't want to work for you. So and again, I'm trying to be nice, but if I see that, and I'm coming there to apply, or I'm looking to join your team, and I'm somebody that has some standards about myself, or I want to be in an environment where I can thrive, where I can grow, where I can be developed, that ain't it. That's not the environment. I don't want to be there. This does not feel like a place that's thriving. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying that to say, how many super successful brands do you see their mess? You know what I mean? It's like going into somebody's house and all of the laundry is right there at the front door. The clean stuff, the dirty stuff, the bikes, the shoes, the dogs, everything right there at the front. And that's how your front counter looks. Very, very simple, easy change. Get organized. Get organized, because that's going to help you present a more inviting environment for a potential hire. But also on the other side of that, if you're not organized, your process is probably disorganized too. Meaning when they apply, who knows what the next step is? Do I call you? You gonna call me? Should I schedule an interview? And you know how we do. It's not even really an interview. It's come in here and make a pie. Let me see what you got. But is your process streamlined? Is your process automated in any way that you can? Are you having interviews on the same day every week? Are you constantly hiring, or you need somebody because you just lost somebody? I'm gonna tell you the other thing that is holding restaurants back. And this is the tough one, right? No, I'll say that one. Because no, I don't want you to stop listening. So number 2, and I'll give you 3 reasons. I like 3. So the second thing that I noticed is, and I work with a lot of restaurant owners, franchise owners, in and out of the pizza business. The conversations that I have with owners and managers have some distinct differences between thriving restaurants and struggling restaurants. Whether it's struggling to get profits, struggling to get sales, struggling to hire people, the conversations are very similar in those restaurants versus the restaurants that are considered to be thriving or successful or profitable. And it's not hiring, because both situations, you're looking for people. Even the ones that are thriving are always looking for folks too. But the ones that are struggling are looking for folks in a more desperate situation, in a more desperate need. But here's how the conversations are different. I talk to somebody that's struggling, and it's, man, I was just trying to get people. The cooler went down on me. The AC went out last month. My cook quit. The driver didn't show up. My truck was late. There's always the problems and the reasons why, and the excuses, or whatever you want to call them. There's this focus on all of the problems. Cook didn't show up. Truck was late. Cooler broke. Oven broke. Newsflash: these things happen every day. That's every day. That's just the stuff that's gonna happen. But here's the difference. I talk to somebody that's thriving, somebody that's killing it. You know what they want to talk about? They want to talk about what they're doing. They want to show me what they're doing next. Look at what I'm working on. Look at what we just did. Look what we put in place last week. Look at this new, not my freezer broke. Man, look at this new freezer we got. Top of the line, badass freezer. Same problems, different perspective. Same problem, different perspective. Oh man, yeah, upgraded the AC last week. All that. Still looking for people, but different perspective. People want to join environments where, things are positive. Things are always looking up. It's always, what's next? Those are the kind of leaders that attract top talent. Which takes me to the last point. So let's just, for illustration purposes, put that disclaimer on there. For illustration purposes, say that your pizzeria is struggling. You might have to close the doors. It's getting tough. Can't pay the rent. You got a serious performance problem. So if you got a performance problem, I would say you probably have a team problem. Your team's not engaged. They're not driving the business. They're not. They got no direction. It's the inmates running the asylum. They say feels like you got a bunch of kids in there. If you got a team problem, you probably got a leadership problem. And if you got a leadership problem, then you got a you problem. And that's what nobody wants to hear. Nobody wants to admit. If you got a leadership problem, then you got a you problem. Because you didn't empower the leadership. You didn't train them. You didn't coach them. You didn't teach them. You didn't help them develop. You didn't give them the skills that they need to do it right. It's always got to come back. It's got to come back to you. The good, the bad, the ugly, always does. That's the path. No matter what the end game is, the path always should lead back to the inputs that you gave. How you know if you got a leadership problem? You feel like you got to do everything. You got to do every single thing in that restaurant for it to go. When the last time you been on vacation? You bought a pizzeria. You own a restaurant. You're successful, but to all the people on the outside looking in, but you ain't been nowhere. You ain't been able to take a day off in 5 years. You got a leadership problem. Do you feel burdened by the challenges, by the day-to-day stuff, the little stuff? And I say little stuff because it for real happens all the time. For anybody that's not in the restaurant business, things happen every single day, every day. Something happens. You have to be ready to solve the problems. But if you're struggling with that, you're missing some support, and you probably don't have the junior leadership in place to help you with some of those day-to-day things. I promise you there's somebody on your team that can handle the schedule. I promise you there's somebody on your team that can handle the food order, the liquor order, the drink order. I promise you there's somebody on your team that can make sure the cleaning tasks get done. I promise you there's somebody on your team that can go out and market catering opportunities to the local businesses if you can't do it, but you're scared to give it up, or you don't know how. And that's okay too, because where you are is at a point where you can make a change. And that's all that I encourage people to do is take a look in, get yourself in the right mindset for growth and for leadership development. Set the routines, execute the hell out of them, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. You know what I mean? It's not, look, we just make pizza. We just make pizzas. We just make people happy with these delicious circles. And I love it too. But this business that we're in is the people business. You have to learn how to take care of people. People want to be developed. They want to be encouraged. They want to be supported. They want to be challenged. They want to be empowered. Give some responsibility. Start to dish that stuff out, because you can't do it all. You can't thrive that way. You got a capacity too. And be somebody else deserves that opportunity. So back to the earlier point that I was trying to make with some of the successful places, yes, they are always looking for people too. But the difference is hiring, onboarding, training, development is a system that is part of the fabric of those operations, those restaurants. It's one of these things where you start to understand that I need to always be looking for people. I need to always have somebody in the process. I need to always have somebody looking up to what's next, because that's how we stay fresh and stay current. We're not even going to open that one up, but we'll talk about training, development, putting a nice first, 3-day, 2-week, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day plan in place for new hires so that you can hang on and retain some people. But that's what I do. I love people. I've learned that the most crucial component of the, how do I say, the most crucial component? I don't know. Whatever it is, the most determining factor in the success and failure of a restaurant is who the leader is at the store level, who's running the day-to-day, who is the manager, and how well they run that business. The best managers have a great support staff, support team. They have everything they need to be successful. So as an owner, how are you going to give your folks those tools? You want some help? Reach out to me. Look, I try to give out, as much content as I can on Instagram. You can follow me there, Tyrell Reed Sr. You can check out my website, tyrellreed.com. I have the Next Level Leader book, 21 lessons that help me take my career to the next level. I do a 21-day email course for free. You can get that course there on tyrellreed.com. All I'm saying is you do not need to struggle in staffing, building, growing your restaurant. Call me. You can book a call on my website. I do a free 45-minute strategy session. I'll give you a plan. You just got to go out and execute it. I'll give you a nice plan to help you get yourself on track. If you're struggling, you don't got to do it alone. So holler at me. Again, I'm not going to do these, 2-hour podcasts, anything like that. We'll keep it short, sweet, 20, 30 minutes. Let me know what you think. Reach out, ask any questions. Let me know what topics y'all want to talk about on here. I'm happy to bring guests, whatever we got to do. Just let me know. I'm about to have fun with this. Hey, have a good one. Peace.